Maybe. I clicked
We
it.
are live. Now we're live. All right, better late than never here. Look at that. Eric Lindquist, the Stokastic sign is blasting as we get you ready for another rendition, another of Pick'em. Look, from PrizePicks to Underdog to DraftKings Pick Six, we have everything possible here for you. We have a full show here for you that we're going to build cards on each one of those. And I have to be honest, Lindy, because we always save the best for last, which is Pick Six. And there's always going to be some value that we can mine here. But we've got a lot to look at, not just the NFL, but NBA here. And I don't know, maybe you have a hockey lean that you stole from Jake Hari or something. I don't know. Is that true? Could that be possible?
No, that is not possible because hockey is a sport that I don't care about until, hang on one second.
Got it. Is that it? Really? That's the only time you care about it?
Playoff hockey is the best. Like, I love playoff hockey, but I'm a little bit spoiled because my first year living in LA, 2011 or 2012, it would have been into I moved November 2011 into 2012. That almost was basically summer. They won the Stanley Cup, and I got to go to every game that was in LA. So it was like I had the most spoiled hockey venture ever. And I grew up going to Wild games. Like, we would drive up to the Excel in St. Paul, and it was amazing. It was awesome going to hockey games live. But like, I tell you what, there's only so much a guy can do, and trying to keep track of line changes and have the projections all the way that you want for things. Hockey for Pick'em, just a pure pass for me.
Okay, look. You are the man when it comes to Pick'em strategy, when it comes to building cards. And if you're telling us that you yourself can't find anything, then that just means either there's no value in it, which hard for me to believe, or we should just be finding somebody else to tail when it comes to NHL Pick'em. All right, so we've got an NFL card.
Yeah, correlation's great. That's the nice thing about hockey, but now you're getting
line
docked
changes
for some of the correlation. So, yeah, line
changes. You can make some money off line changes.
Yep, for sure. For sure you can. Heading to the NFL streets, so yeah, we go on this show, PrizePicks Underdog Pick Six. If you guys haven't checked them out, I think promo code Lindy works for absolutely everything. So if we're playing along and you're able to get access to it, again, in the great state of Arizona, I know you have absolutely everything. You can play Pick'em, you can sports bet, you can do absolutely everything. And so there's an opportunity for you there for sure. Just move to Arizona. Everybody should move to Arizona. But also,
you just moved to Arizona?
No, I've just got my place in Scottsdale, so I got a spot there now.
Are you? Do you live there? You no longer live in Los Angeles, in California?
No, but I wanted to I want to set up a residence to be all situated there, and I go back to go see my parents all the time in Scottsdale, so it was only a matter of time, hopefully slowly rolling it out. But that's a conversation for a different day.
Okay, so this is like trying to live in an area that has a better school district, even though you may not physically. I understand what you're saying.
Correct. But then also I get to play golf all the time. I get to go and see my folks and go kick it for like maybe a month and a half at a time. But had to find somewhere that I could basically set up a studio, kind of get everything situated there. But we'll see. It's going to probably be a couple months down the line to really have it the way that I want. But it'll be fun to be able to split time and to be able to, kind of do a little bit of everything that I've always wanted to be able to do. So
what's the time? Like how long does it take you to, that's what I'm saying, Obi, right? Like, here I am saying, did you move full time? And then the opposite was, no, I just bought another house. Sorry, Eric.
Not a house, it's a condo, but yeah.
I stand corrected.
Yeah.
Is this a rhetorical question from Izzo? Twitter is the emptiest place on the planet. It's where the soulless go to communicate and convene.
Here's the thing.
Nothing but emptiness.
The lead up to the election on Tuesday has been just the most painful thing of all time. I hate it. I'm ready for it to be done. However, Tuesday in and of itself is going to be amazing. It's going to be an awesome day. So as empty as Twitter is and X is here at the moment, Tuesday is going to be wild. I'm very excited to kind of stand pat and sit there. There's no NBA on Tuesday too. They've taken the entire day off and every team plays on Wednesday.
Why?
So I'm not going to have anything to do on Tuesday. I don't know. Maybe the NHL plays and we'll have to talk line changes and shit.
Why is the NBA off on Tuesday?
Because they have the election initiative that they want everybody to go out and vote. So get out to vote. They don't want to be a distraction. They don't want to have any excuses where people aren't able to go vote. And
anybody
so,
that's pushing you to vote doesn't want you to vote. They want you to vote for their candidate. Because I guarantee you that if you ever asked anybody who is pushing you, who is forcing you almost to sign up and vote, say, okay, I'm going to vote, but I'm going to vote for the other person. They would rather have you not vote than vote for the other person.
Yep, that's exactly it. I mean, it is.
So play basketball, play hockey, play tennis, play croquet if we could bet on it. Come on. What are we doing
so the
here?
NFL Week 9 is ready to rock
NFL
here.
would never take off for an election, Eric Lindquist. They didn't take off for COVID. Are you kidding me?
Nope, they sure didn't. They went to Disneyland and rode the rides by themselves. Must have been fun.
I see Kyle Pitts, the first name up there. People have raced to bet Kyle Pitts. Look at that. The most popular bet on the board is Kyle Pitts.
This is why. People are disturbing. And I mean, here's the thing. They did say before, I believe this was week 5, week 6, week 7, week 8. Yeah. So before week 5, they said that they were going to start getting him more involved, that he needed to get more involved. And well, by golly, they sure did. There is no question about it. This is also a Dallas game. I mean, this carries the highest total, I believe, here still at the moment. Atlanta. I don't know. Kyle Pitts is obviously somebody you should like to some extent, but like people just, what happened last week has no dictation over what's going to happen going forward. However, he has been more involved. He's still going to be somebody who gets out on the field a bunch, but it's not National Tight End Day, friends. It's not National Tight End Day. Kyle Pitts, I mean, if you made me do anything here, I probably do lean towards the over, which makes me a chalk donkey, but I'm looking at my NFL projected stats, and then I have the projected stats page here at Stokastic to pull up here as well. And we have Kyle Pitts in for 48.5 receiving yards. Yeah, don't bet this. The dumbest thing ever. It's not even flipping coins because you're not getting paid enough on either side of it. It's like minus 140 when you just play a 2-pick card. So don't do that.
I think it's easy. It's such a, you hear week to week, any given Sunday, what have you. Yet people will race and see what somebody's done over the last 5 or what somebody's done over, like the last 10. And last week, first off, every single tight end scored a touchdown last week because it was National Tight End Day and it was like
the thing ever,
script. Exactly. But that was just one of the best matchups that Kyle Pitts will have in his career last week. And now people are just bouncing on that again. Okay, I'm fine, but I'm brought that up only because of how popular it was and how easy it was to just kind of go away from that.
Yeah. 100% with you. I look at the board here, though, and I want to start with a couple interesting ones because I want to get your opinion. I think this is a great slate. This might actually be my favorite pick'em slate that we've had of the entire year because I do think there are some ways not just to necessarily correlate cards, but like really, really tap into an entire game environment and just say, you know what? Here we go. I don't see how Aaron Jones isn't one of the more popular plays here. I think it's purely because of failure against LA, purely because of failure against the Jets, that this isn't getting jammed. Have people watched the Colts defense this season? And now we get Joe Flacco on the other side of this one instead of Anthony Richardson, who's been complete dust, which maybe hurts the rushing expectation of Jones because, well, the Vikings looked like they were going to be ahead of the chains ahead in the game and have an opportunity to just kind of ride Aaron Jones 20, 25 times, but they played last Thursday. You now come into a game environment at home, primetime, Sunday Night Football, and Aaron Jones has been getting like 90% of the workload here, more than that even at the running position. Ty Chandler isn't even listed. He's not even alive right now here for the Minnesota Vikings. Getting those extra days of rest for Aaron Jones, who coming into the bye was dealing with a little bit of a hammy issue. It was potentially going to keep him out. And now Aaron Jones looks to me as though probably the most undervalued rushing prop, and nobody wants to play it because it's just on the Sunday main slate. I don't understand it. I absolutely love Aaron Jones this week. I love this number. I've got him at 88 for rushing yards. So yeah, Aaron Jones, my first click.
Not bad. And again, I can't speak to why he's not more popular, but I definitely think in that matchup specific, it's one of the areas that you could target. Look, Joe Flacco, the Colts are going to try to move the football. And now it's a matter of what was just kind of let Anthony Richardson go out there, make a couple of mistakes. It's not like you want to keep Joe Flacco off the field, but you kind of have to respect what's going on with that Colts offense. And I think just having Aaron Jones as a pacer, if you will, in that game makes a ton of sense. The matchup is there too to get over 73.5 yards. So yeah, let's jump on that right away as far as our first play here. I see you're looking at rushing yards.
Oh, I was just kind of going through it because, again, I think that there's like isolated plays like this that exist, like Aaron Jones. And then we have amazing game environments where you could stack up and you're going to get penalized from time to time. So you want to be a little bit careful with that. But like this Miami Buffalo game, I think is like really, really tasty for pick'em cards and for DFS purposes this weekend. Devon Achane went right back to being Devon Achane as soon as Tua Tagovailoa showed up. Josh Allen,
Amazing.
like in consideration for MVP, has been awesome. James Cook has been rolling here as well. Like there's just so many different shootouts that I just can make massive cases for here. Jalen Waddle exists, and it was kind of nice to not have him go completely ballistic. And now, I mean, nobody wants to click on that because, oh, he's gone under the last 5. But I mean, God, I love some alternates, 59.5, even like adding that to the card where you could be really looking for shootouts. And Khalil Shakira, Amari Cooper, he might not even play. Curtis Samuel might not even play. Like it might be all Khalil Shakir, who's been an absolute wagon. I know he's our guy, DK DFS, who was on the show with us 2 weeks ago. Khalil Shakir is his boy. I see why. I mean, I've always liked the talent for him. I thought he was a year away from being really, really something. And well, he's already something. So Khalil Shakir looks awesome.
Yeah, I think that's a great way to approach that, especially in a game environment where you should see a lot of up and down. Again, I don't know what you want to push with Shakir, knowing that there's going to be a strong chance he plays a lot more. Go to that Eagles-Jags game if you can, but stay on receiving yards because I think here, even if it's like a stack with a run back opportunity, right? I mean, Christian Kirk's out, so you know that. But right away, you can go to AJ. I was going to say 49.5 is basically just ensuring it. But I think both of these guys have incredibly favorable matchups. Kellen Moore is clearly running the show, at least after last week. And I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but that still remains as a massive buy low spot for Devontae Smith. I mean, those are number 2 wideout expectations, and he is just not that. Yeah, you could flip it too, and again, you could look at either Brown or Smith, or Brown and Smith, and then look at something on Jacksonville. The problem is like, Darius Slay may not play, probably not going to play. I'll check the practice reports for today. But the reality is what? Like, you don't have many guys you can throw to, right? 2 guys are banged up. Christian Kirk is the third. He's out. So there really aren't many options for Trevor Lawrence to throw to. You could probably just micro that into one guy too and get that correlation because it's 2 guys on opposite sides.
Yeah, this is that is. I think it's going to be Evan Ingram. I mean, I think Brian Thomas ends up playing. He practiced yesterday in a limited capacity.
Right,
correct me if I'm wrong. But he got dinged up last week. And Christian Kirk, I don't think is playing football. I mean, I would actually be a little bit surprised to see Kirk. He's already out with the torso issue. So there's no issue whatsoever in firing up Evan Ingram, who right from the get-go, I mean, we didn't see him, period. Like he was dinged up. Everything was problematic for him there. I mean, this might even be a spot to potentially go towards the rushing plus receiving touchdown. Like, I don't know. He is the sole human being out there. He is an elite tight end 1 for you playing fantasy out there in the land. But Evan Ingram has always had some good rapport here with Mr. Trevor Lawrence. It's never been an issue as far as like, them having issues on the field together. It's always been Evan Ingram getting hurt in random ways. Like, I don't know, pregame warmups this year, which is just so absurd still. But I like this correlation option. And we have the Friday Flex protected play that we can fire up here today, Eytan, as well. But I kind of like these little pairings where, sometimes you just see a game go completely ballistic. There's some slight correlation here, not as correlated as like us taking Evan Ingram plus. I mean, is Brian Thomas even listed right now? I'd be surprised, actually. Yeah, just the rushing plus receiving touchdowns, because, this might be a spot where Evan Ingram absorbs all of this offense for Jacksonville through the air.
Yeah, I think Evan Ingram might be the only thing you can do here, to be honest with you.
And how are you feeling? I really don't care about like defense versus position as much. I know that might be sacrilegious to some. It's like the same people who are like, how do you not care about BVP, batter versus position? It's like, yo, you have to think about the circumstances surrounding this too. And I mean, Evan Ingram, he's not as well projected here at Stokastic as what I have here at the moment on my sheet. But, obviously Evan Ingram is somebody that can get really, really involved in the passing game in just about any situation where you have Thomas, you have Kirk out on the field. And now we're talking about them being removed and you are replacing them with some real bleak strangers. This Washington character, I know he's athletic, but like, my God, there's just so many ways that this game ends up going all the way through Ingram. And yeah, I don't see how Trevor Lawrence does anything besides just target that guy ad nauseum. And then Devonta Smith in the slot. It's just a thing.
That's the only thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't even exactly. And that's those two right there might be a smooth little play. Where are we right now? We need 5 and we've got 4.
We got 5 already. We got 5.
Oh, we do have 5.
I pushed the Waddle a little bit purely because I think
no, I'm good with that.
I was pretty happy to see Waddle. I was pretty low on Waddle. I thought he was a little overowned for DFS last week. I ended up having an okay DFS week. Could have been an absolute slam dunk Hulk smash if like 1 or 2 things in the afternoon broke my way. But Waddle, 59.5 receiving yards. I think now is where you start to see, going up against Buffalo, going up north, and you're looking for a little bit more possession receiver. Jalen Waddle also had some pretty bad drops. Not drops necessarily, but like, he definitely should have made some catches. There was that one closer to the goal line that would have been another 15, 20 yards for him there. He was close to having a box score, but I'm glad he didn't because now we're able to buy in a little bit lower where if people had really, really exercised that, you know what? I'm going to actually just make this the 50.5. I'm going to go Waddle 50.5 and take Khalil Shakir 51.5. I feel pretty good about this being, just our 5-man card, get paid 10X. Move on with your life. So yeah, that's
what was Ingram. We took receiving yards for Ingram.
Yep.
Just to confirm.
We took rushing yards and 4 receiving yards with little mini correlations within the same game environments. And I don't.
And that's again, that's what you do, right? I mean, you're not going to get penalized if this is a same game parlay on FanDuel or DraftKings, what have you. Same game parlay X where you're running multiple in there. You're going to get burned on some correlation.
Correct.
Not here, which is fantastic.
Not here at all. Yep. So Flex Friday, I think that makes a good one for you. Obviously, if you're looking for NBA today, there's a lot of injury news that we're going to still be waiting on. So just to give people an idea, I will put that card in, by the way, for what it's worth after this show and post it over on X for everybody. I know that these lines have been getting bumped to as we've been doing the show, which I always enjoy. Appreciate you guys watching. Appreciate you if you're tuning in wherever you are. Just hit the heart button on Eytan's X or on my X so that we can get it viewed. We don't want the algo to hate us here at this point in time. But,
and we want you to hit the thumbs up button too, right? Like we
would love for you to hit the thumbs up
Absolutely.
button.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we got a lot of
subscribe here, not just here, but we have tools. Now look, we're going to show you Underdog and Pick Six coming up. I mean, we've got these tools here designed to beat them, and we're going to give you the subscription and the break to do it with links below. I see you bouncing around here. There was a couple things that jumped out I was going to throw at you, right? A tough matchup, you would think, overall for Charlotte. Maybe that's a slower game script for you. Or maybe that just with Boston and their bench, knowing that they're going to put some points up too, that I don't know if you'd fade Ball, knowing that he's just a popular name. Yeah, Grady Dick, I like that. We're all over him as far as under 3s. And I think that probably correlates with him scoring too. So I think anybody
a big number against the Lakers. I mean, that's just a wild number. Yeah.
I mean, maybe if you wanted to get brave, you could short Pirtle, but I don't think that there's a need to. I think, or D'Angelo Russell, 14.5 points there.
Yeah, there's that. Let's combine the entire portfolio. JJ Redick. I mean, I'm a little bit worried that this ends up being like a squeaky wheel narrative to some extent, but JJ Redick is playing through Austin Reeves, through Anthony Davis and LeBron James. And D'Angelo Russell doesn't really have a spot if he isn't knocking down shots in this Lakers offense, the new JJ Redick offense. Now, it's nothing new. It's nothing revelatory. You're playing through your best players. And D'Angelo Russell, I think, has been best utilized. He had an all-star year in Brooklyn. Then he goes to my Minnesota Timberwolves. He ends up at Golden State for like a quick hot cup of coffee, but like he can be an off-ball guard. He just doesn't like to be an off-ball guard. He always wants to have the ball in his hands and then chuck it. He doesn't really get played, he doesn't really get played the way that I think is best to be optimally playing basketball in 2024. And I think JJ Redick recognizes that. I think that kind of makes him a fun short as well. It is unfortunately Toronto on the other side, so you got to feel a little bit, you know that it's definitely waiting in the wings. But I think Dalton Connect, we finally saw him connect last time out against Cleveland in garbage time. Do they give him a little extra run? Because again, Austin Reeves, ball handler, LeBron James, ball handler. You'd much rather have both of them, much taller, much more efficient in terms of distribution as well. I like both of them playing through the offense, and Dalton Connect like fits that team really, really well if he's knocking down shots.
Yeah, 9.5. What's that PRA for Connect? That's not bad. I mean, you're looking at the assumption too, right, that you're getting some minutes. Also, the game flow here should be pretty controlling for the Lakers at the very least. I don't mind that at all. Again, if you're adding this in all with correlation, right, going to be a tough night for Dick to get some points there. We just mentioned as far as D'Angelo Russell. And I think this applies across the board, but you're getting a good number on that PRA at 22.5. So if it's just points or PRA, the lack of fit or just the lack of insistence. And that's another thing too. Like, okay, even if this is the game for D'Angelo Russell, how much time is there on the floor before things get out of hand? Or on the other side of it, if it's a tight game, close game, I don't know. I think I'm good with D'Angelo Russell under there. And then, yeah, if you want to add Mitchell, it's fine.
I think so. I think just adding one other piece here too. Now, this is obviously telling a little bit of a story. Grady Dick. I mean, this is hopefully just a annihilation on the Lakers side where LeBron, AD do everything. Now, where their PRAs and fantasy scores are, probably not going to be divvying it up. LeBron 44.5 is just such a low number, but they're limiting his minutes and being smart with him early on in this season. But Davion Mitchell, assuming, I mean, Manuel quickly is going to continue to be out here with that groin issue. You do have RJ Barrett out on the floor, who, I mean, that is a big number for a guy who only played 34 minutes last time out. Looked pretty good against Charlotte, but I am inclined to look at Davion Mitchell here as somebody that can still get things done. Defensively, that was his calling card coming out of the draft. Sacramento drafting him there. Didn't necessarily fit with, De'Aaron Fox on the other side there. Not a great three-point shooter, but Davion Mitchell, that's a low number for a guy who can rack up some stocks, and there were 3 on PrizePicks. So I wanted to give the people some options. Here's a quick little game stack for you to throw together if you're looking for something today for the Flex Friday.
Do you get Tony's question here?
Let me see it here. What's Tony's question? Let me see.
Why are you always laying up at
I don't
short
have
or
that
five?
open. Why he was laying up at short or 5? I think he's meant to say short par 5s. I never. I'm way fucking better at golf.
Okay.
Yeah.
But why? Yeah. But why do you choose to lay up on short par 5s?
I don't. I legitimately never, ever, ever, ever. Here's what I realized. I'm 37 years old. I'm never, ever NBA Pick Six shows. Hey, we are going to do Pick Six. We can definitely cover that here in the next half hour.
We'll get you rants.
Yep, we'll get you covered.
Tony never lays up on short par 5s, and he's curious why you do. Would you like to respond to that?
I am very enraged right now. It's funny. You can troll me for my picks. You can get mad at me, but my God, you do not tell me that I lay up on a par 5. Like this too short at this point in time to lay up on par 5s. I would never, sir. I would never.
235 out of the bunker. What are you doing?
I'm hitting 4-iron. I'm a god.
I don't think you're getting on there.
Yeah, I am. You've never seen me play golf, sir. It's kind of a bummer, actually. I should have come out for that Pro-Am in October. Also, it doesn't even look like fall by you. It's November 1st. How are the trees so
I got
green?
kids all over the place. I mean, this is insanity here. Been away for a day and a half and come back. It's a zoo. It's not fall. It's. I should be playing golf, but I'm here with you right now. I legit should be out right now playing golf. It's November 1st, and I don't know, 70 degrees right now. And yet here I am with you on a show.
Sucks. That actually
All right,
sucks.
So here we go to Underdog. We're going to build a 3-play card here, although you can get away with a 2-play 3Xer if you like. But in this case, for the most part, I mean, you can run alts and things along those lines. But look, we've already shown you PrizePicks, and just keep in mind not only what we've built, but the difference. And now you're going to start to see discrepancy. You're going to start to see where you can find a little value here or there. And I think absolutely you want to start with A quarterback, is there a game? You know, we didn't touch, there are a couple things in certain games that we didn't touch on, but yeah, I mean, you can go back to Devontae.
Look at the discrepancy. I mean, we definitely want to keep shopping for the best lines. He is at, again, was it 51.5 over on PrizePicks for
Yeah, but
Devontae
go longest reception here. This is
I mean,
where
that
I
is
think
just, that is gigantic. I mean, that's fantastic. No, I'm just saying that, like, I'm when I put the things on the sheet before the show and I'm picking out like what I want to talk about. I mean, the most important thing, just shopping for the best odds, the same way that you would at a sports book. Same thing applies here. But I actually want to go to something else here because there is the vulture protection for touchdowns right now. And the other thing that they have going is you have a boost for touchdowns, I believe, still going. Yeah, it's got to be on the app that you utilize it for. But there's right now bonuses when you combine anytime touchdowns. Let's see if it works if I just plug it into the card.
By the way, vulture protection is just if you get a touchdown, what, on the goal line?
Correct. But there's something on the app going on right now too. Let me double check.
Saquon Barkley is a candidate every week for vulture protection if that's the case.
Correct. And he should be, but you know, also I don't think quarterback counts anymore because people were doing that. T. Higgins is doubtful. So here we go. That just came across. And we've been reacting to news quite a bit here lately. Jamar Chase. Oh, yep. It's already getting boosted. This is already going to get boosted here. 82.5. You might as well just take the rushing yards in case, you know, they do one end around.
An end around for 9 yards.
Adam Thielen doubtful for week 9. So, oh my God, this is some great news to be getting as we're on this show breaking it down because Xavier Legette, is he not listed right now?
By the way, I'm over 21.5 first half in that game. I think anyone out there should join me.
Oh, for Vegas and Cincy?
No, for Carolina and New Orleans.
Carolina and New Orleans. Okay. I'm very much here for that. I mean, Carolina, New Orleans is like the epitome of a terrible football game that is going to be just chock full of good stuff for our purposes. Let's pull that game up here. Actually, I'm going to
sort it. The thing about New Orleans is they can get points up. Carolina blitzes, even though they never actually get to the quarterback, yet they keep blitzing every single week. And they're prime for a defensive turnover, an interception, or even a fumble return.
Yep,
so
they very much are.
I mean, you're going to have 17 points before you blink an eye in that game.
Yeah, I don't think people remember how good this New Orleans offense was the first 2 weeks of the season. Now,
yeah, they just fell off.
Given they got to play what? It was absolute nobodies. I mean, there was some ridiculousness there. Philly, it was okay. Nothing special there by any means.
Philly is where it slowed down, but leading up to that is where Carr and that offense was just crazy.
The Cowboys game was absurd. The Cowboys game was absolutely absurd. And New Orleans took Carolina behind the woodshed in their first outing, and now this is round 2 on the road. But I still think Chris Olave finally shows up in our lives this week. Alvin Kamara as well just looks awesome to do absolutely everything in a spot where this division is still so gettable. And Chuba Hubbard, the rushing yards have just plummeted purely because you get Bryce Young. I saw Jonathan Brooks is questionable for week 9, which is kind of fascinating to see if they'll actually activate him and play him. But there's really nothing you can do other than looking at a higher on 53.5 at that number. Chuba's been pretty good. I would say I'd get careful because sometimes a running back, you say that somebody's good, and that's different than them putting up stats. I think Chuba Hubbard's kind of done a little bit of both this year. But yeah, Chris Olave, 21.5 is a nice number. 21.5 is a really good first half number. I love that bet by you.
So here's the thing about Hubbard. They keep giving him the ball even when things are out of hand. And they're only going to do that even more with Bryce Young on the field. So I would look, if you wanted to, that's probably a lower number, 53.5. I still think that Devontae Smith longest reception is too low. But
yeah,
that's just me.
Let's go to that. Devonta. Again, I've got sportsbook odds over on Odd Shopper that I'm kind of comparing with some of this stuff. That's something that I always look at. You could also push the longest reception, just say he catches a bomb and you know, get all of the
that's the thing.
But I hate doing that. There we go.
It's a little volatile. I don't think you need it. We're building a card, right? Like if it's a solo play and you wanted to build a ladder on a book, okay, I could be talked into over 29 and a half longest reception, but there's just no need for it here when we're building a multi-pick card. Take that 21 and a half victory right there.
Yep. Great point. Great point to throw in there as well. You want to take the victory. I think that's actually going to be our foundational piece that we throw in here first. I think the touchdown thing, if you have the phone app, the companion app there for you, not even companion app, just like the app, you have an opportunity to basically play those touchdowns and get like 20% boost on everything over there. So that's something to pay very, very close attention to. But in terms of rushing yards, I mean, Chuba Hubbard is still actually one of the top plays on my sheet. So we're gonna keep that 53 and a half rushing yards in there. Jonathan Brooks is questionable, but I doubt they're going to give him like even half the snaps or something right from the get-go. Right. It would be absurd. I mean, he's going to be somebody they maybe mix in for goal line, and maybe just give him a feel-good touchdown for their. I mean, this guy is one of the highly touted running backs that we've had in quite some time, and the only reason that he fell in the draft is he tore his ACL, I believe, and so. Yeah, Jonathan Brooks should be a lot of fun to watch eventually. That will probably not be this Sunday, but we're going to keep that one in. And then, 54 and a half just keeps going on up as we're talking about it on this show. Love that you guys are playing these along with us. Really, really appreciate that.
What was it, 53?
53 and a half. I mean, honestly,
these numbers are low. This has happened. Runs.
Yeah, this has happened more and more doing these shows with you. I mean, people have had some good reactions to it. We've hit a couple of cards throughout the last couple of weeks. Nothing crazy. Otherwise, I would have posted for sure. But we've had a couple of nice winners there. Chuba 53. It's kind of oscillating. That's the word I'm looking for. Like when the golf ball's moving, oscillating between 53 and a half and 54 and a half. But I want to talk about Arizona, Chicago. Do you have any interest in this lovely football game? Because I sure do with one guy.
What would be, I think it would be on Arizona, but you went to Rome, so I'm curious.
So I think James Conner plus wide receiver is going to be something I want to do a lot in DFS this week. And from a betting perspective, I mean, Keenan Allen, they are not utilizing him the way that they really should. I mean, they got the template. Kellen Moore showed the template on how you use Keenan Allen, sorry. And I know injuries are a thing, but Caleb Williams needs all the slot help he possibly can. And Keenan Allen just hasn't been getting it done here lately. I also think Rome Odunze, he is so special. This guy, I bet against him in his Washington Huskies with Michael Penix all year last year, and all they did was punish me. Jalen McMillan, Rome Odunze, Michael Penix Jr., they just completely punished me. And I find it hard to believe that Rome Odunze isn't a great play here. And now Chuba Hubbard's inactive. So look at that. What a time to
Is he really?
Yeah, they just got it bet off the card. Odunze, 34 and a half receiving yards. We're starting to see him get mixed in a little bit more. 6 targets in 2 of his last 3. Gone over in 3 straight. I don't care about that. That's not necessarily how I go about projecting it. But Arizona is a team that I think should be able to move the ball on the ground with James Conner against Chicago's defense, which kind of lends me to think Rome Odunze on the other side is like a run back candidate. Makes a lot of sense. And 73 and a half rushing yards. Let me see, because I was way higher than the industry consensus on James Conner. I've got him at 88. Stokastic has him at 84.16. That's good. These are good things. Those are both advantageous overs at 73 and a half, my friend.
All right. So right now we have a 3-pick card. Are you okay with it?
Yep, I'm ready to rock with that.
Okay. I mean, we've got time, and there's some issues, not in a negative sense, but I think there's some angles on pick 6 that I want to take advantage of when we're talking about fading the field. There's no benefit to that here or on PrizePicks, so there's no real reason to bring that up. But I'm good. I'm good, too. I think if there was another game or maybe another angle, that's fine. But ultimately, I think we covered a lot with looking at 2 different ones. Again, I want to go to this Ravens-Broncos game more so on pick 6. Yes. I want to go to the Patriots-Titans game on pick 6, right? So I was saving a couple of these games because I think that you can start looking at fading the field. Even the Eagles game, to go back and kind of looking at that. So where do you want to start here? I mean, we're all, again, can't mix and match time zones, right? So we have to stay in either 1 o'clock Eastern. Oh, we can?
So I bring this up all the time, mainly because, Jonathan Brooks unlikely to play week 9. That's why you just got Chuba Hubbard. If you were listening to this show and you got in on Chuba Hubbard, yay, 53.5. That is going to be north of 60 by the time it reopens. Absolute smash. Jonathan Brooks unlikely to play week 9, which makes sense. There's no reason they should be playing him. But
somebody
anyway,
clip that.
Hang on. Do we
put
still
that on social? Me telling you about Chuba Hubbard and you looking at me like I'm crazy.
I didn't say that. Well, you are crazy, but that's not the point. The point is that Chuba Hubbard at 53.5 on Underdog right now was an absolute smash. He was never available over on Pick Six, which is why I wanted to talk about him over there in the first place. You act like I don't prep for this show. Come on now. I'm a beast. I'm an absolute
You prep
beast.
all the time. There's no doubt about that.
I know.
There's no doubt.
Anyway, we've got ourselves a fun little correlation here between Lamar Jackson and Zay Flowers, wouldn't you say? You wanted to go to Denver and Baltimore. I'll let you lay the case out for how you want to correlate it.
So I think what we can find here, Lamar Jackson with the knee injury, he's banged up. We know that he's limited. All right. Clearly not going to miss this game, I don't think, right? On the practice report.
Wild. Otherwise, it's Josh Johnson, and any overs you're taking on Baltimore are pretty much dead.
Right. So I think looking at this from, I don't want to touch Lamar Jackson, but I want to go back to Derrick Henry. You've got the possibility now of them having to lean even more on Henry, and I think people are going to rush. I would be interested, and again, you and I had this conversation last week. I think this is another underplay for Derrick Henry on Pick Six, only because you're going to look at people and say, oh, Lamar Jackson's hurt. They're going to have to run. Yeah, it's Denver. They got a good defense and all, but it's Denver. And the reality is it's not just Denver. This is a good football team, and they're getting 8.5, which I think is a little large too. That's where I was thinking. Again, I'm bringing it up. Let's talk it through. If you hate it, you hate it. I get it. But it correlates. Like, the idea is that Derrick Henry should get more touches. He should get more carries. I don't necessarily know, A, if that's going to happen, or B, if that means he necessarily gets more yards.
Yeah, one of the things that I like to do the most if I'm going to be taking a less on a Derrick Henry, which, by the way, I won't be because I've got him north of 100 yards again this week. But I also had J.K. Dobbins for north of 100 yards the last 2 weeks. That didn't go very well for us, Eytan. So I will wear the cone of shame for that one. But Derrick Henry, if we're going to take a less on him, I really want to get the freebie of more on Justice Hill. I will wait until Justice Hill gets dropped for the receiving yards number, because the number of times you'll run into Derrick Henry going for less in the rushing yard category and Justice Hill going for more in the receiving category is a high number. Again, you can extremely correlate on Pick Six. You can get exactly what you're looking for. And are there ways that Derrick Henry goes for 75 and a tutty, and then Justice Hill just doesn't get there and it's just a disgusting football game? Sure, Denver's defense has been so unbelievably improved. Remember, this is a team that gave up 70 points to Miami last year on the road. And it was just like all hell broke loose. We need to fire Sean Payton, after we just got him and, gave up a lot of equity in order to get him from New Orleans because he was still under contract technically. But I am very here for correlation as much as possible. I just hope Justice Hill gets dropped before that game starts, because if I'm going to do this and I'm going to take the Hill, Henry's going to be a popular more. He is every single week. People love to take mores on guys. So if I'm going to get the less, I kind of want to get the freebie on the other side.
Makes sense. Makes a lot of sense. Looking here. All right.
There's one other thing that you wanted to bring up.
I'm just letting people know we only have about 13 minutes left. Code Lindy works here on Pick Six. He has content for days when it comes to just short content as well as social to beat this. I'm putting out for island games, at least. College, I think we're doing as well. Definitely NFL on the written side for Underdog and Pick Six specific. So we've got a link. You can sign up. You can take advantage of it. And we want you to, again, use code Lindy or just what we have here. Sorry.
Oh, I love it. I love when you come in and talk reads to me, baby.
Salesy to you.
Nice. We got 4 afternoon games here listed, but what I was going to say is that you're going to get that all day tab that gets posted on Saturday. There will be a tab here on the drop-down menu that says all day. And that's usually the one I play the most because I get exposure to the entire board. And you see some very condensed numbers on certain guys. So I got to say, there are lots of ways to go out and play the correlation game here on Pick Six. And I like to get as many games as possible in on the slates rather than like 4 or 5, where you're really going to see 2 or 3 plays that really, really stand out and basically make it hard to pass up within that specific pick set, if that makes sense to everybody. But we saw Cooper Kupp get boosted a little bit here with Puka Nacua removed from practice. He didn't talk to reporters. I'm still assuming that he's going to be playing football. He looked awesome against my Vikings. Of course, the Vikings have to play the Rams after they get Kupp and Nacua back, and Nacua plays like way more snaps than Sean McVay did or said he was going to because he's a damn dirty liar.
Course. Right.
But I got to think that one of the ways to blindly fire this up is Nakua's out. I like this a lot. I think Stafford with Kupp, Robinson, Parkinson, potentially looking at the receptions tab as well, where you see Cooper Kupp at 5.5. If Nakua's out, this is going to be 6.5, 7.5 so damn quickly against Seattle. And we just saw James Cook and Buffalo be able to do whatever they wanted to. But don't forget, Khalil Shakir had himself a pretty nice outing too out of the slot there. Cooper Kupp, that's going to be primarily where you want to be utilizing him.
Receptions.
Nakua goes outside. What?
Look, I mean, honestly, I feel like as long as Cooper Kupp is on the field and you're getting a play that's under 6 receptions, you have to go over.
Yep. You really do. It could end up popular, and I really kind of don't care. Obviously, you can only play
who cares?
Those
right.
But yeah, I don't care, nor should you. I'm actually going to zoom out.
I mean, you have to bet. I don't care where this is. I don't care if this is on Rebet or Pick Six. If you're getting over or more or higher than 5.5 receptions for Cooper Kupp, you have to play it. You simply have to play it.
Yep. So we're going to do that. And then I also think there is a very good chance, and it sucks because, of course, it's not available, but I don't think DK Metcalf plays again this week. We're going to see Lockett. We're going to see Jackson Smith and Jigba. I mean, it was really disappointing from Lockett, but part of that was Buffalo just played possession. They were able to run the ball and didn't have to do absolutely anything. Geno Smith losing his mind on the sidelines. Jake Bobo did not get involved in the entire second half. They just killed the clock and just winded this thing down. But getting Stafford, Robinson, Parkinson, Kupp, one thing that you can also do to combat it, I know Charbonnet's been mixing in a little bit more, but if you're going to go to the extreme game script of, this is very, very pass heavy, maybe Kenneth Walker has himself a little bit of a day, and you can definitely look at some rushing yards. The other thing you can do is play your favorite standalone play along with Stafford and such. So I'm going to go back into my sheet. I'm going to pick out the Pick Six optimizer. I'm going to compare the two. I'm going to do this here all on my own on the side. And we've got DeAndre Swift under 18.5 receiving yards. That is going to be one of the top C's. We also have pass completions. Jalen Hurts, 17.5. That's another big number here in the afternoon.
For completions?
I really like. Yeah, completions.
Yeah, it's not a bad number, right? Like, especially because I don't think every single thing you're going to see from Hurts is going to be deep downfield. Like, that's where the Kellen Moore influence comes, is you're going to see a lot more intermediary. You're going to see a lot more routes that are going to be shorter, get the ball in the hands of Devontae. And then also you've got Saquon Barkley. Look, Dallas Goedert's most likely not going to play. So there's going to be a bigger influence on, or emphasis, I should say, on getting like Craig Calcaterra or Barkley out of the backfield the ball. So I think, this makes a lot of sense. Like, this is not going to be like a 14 completion blowout type game. I think you're going to see a little more methodical offense because Kellen Moore is actually running it now.
Yeah. So Kellen Moore getting added to this coaching staff. I mean, Devonta Smith, we could literally go and just fire him up there. Again, we had a really low number over on PrizePicks for it at the moment. Underdog, it was sitting at that same right around this same range, but we could look at that. We can also, one other play that, Detroit Green Bay, I suppose, just to throw it out there for the people. I like the idea of Amon-Ra St. Brown having a big day against the Packers. He had a big day against my Vikings 2 weeks ago. I think we're going to see him get involved a little bit more here in a spot on the road. Josh Jacobs should be able to get things done on the ground against Detroit. I think on the other side, best offensive line in football, the Detroit Lions. They've been fully operational, just absolute studs, no doubt about it. But Amon-Ra St. Brown playing possession receiver as well, being able to get peppered 5, 6, 7 times in this game. I think there's a really nice chance to be able to swing him together at 74.5 receiving yards and make that a pairing. But we're basically my calling card here for the afternoon is you get to a 5-pick card. If you miss one, you're still going to get paid out something, above your entry fee. So you're still looking at a pretty nice return. And if you get Nacua out, like if we get the news that Nacua's out, imagine how insanely boosted all of these numbers are going to be.
Yeah, when Robinson, the biggest, I think, takes that jump. In fact, I mean, do I have to just now bet on GP principle alone? Just take Demarcus Robinson anytime touchdown?
Demarcus Robinson, I have it 34.5 receiving yards with Puka Nacua in. I'm going to take him out quick, and I'm going to sim this in the corner. Hopefully it doesn't make my computer shut down. It really hates when I do this shit. Again, my Excel wit at this point. Oh, we got Devonta Smith bumped over on Underdog. You see, these are beautiful times to be alive. You're welcome, everybody. But
we were ahead of a couple here. Pretty monster.
Yeah, this has been good stuff here. It is going to be holy shit. Is Demarcus Robinson? I mean, I just literally I had Nacua in for like a 60% snap share, which again is very, very conservative. With the knee issue, I don't know what happened Thursday. If he ends up suiting up, I still think that there's a chance he doesn't get as involved as what we saw last Thursday. But I am of the mind that if he ends up out, 49.5 is going to basically be, I just rounded 49.2 yards for, so I'm assuming it ends up being a 49.5 rather than a 48.5 over on Pick Six. That's a gigantic discrepancy with what we have right now. So yeah, and we're going to find out this afternoon. It's, not even 10 a.m. out on the West Coast. They haven't practiced yet. I'm assuming they go up to Seattle tomorrow for a travel day. It's a pretty quick flight up there. And yeah, I mean, these are going to be really, really nuked, and you're going to want to jump in now. Kyron Williams, pretty unaffected for me. But yeah, Demarcus Robinson, Colby Parkinson. Haven't ran it for Colby Parkinson yet. I'm sure he'd be in the mid-30s at least. But Demarcus Robinson is 20 yards higher with Puka Nacua out.
Seems to be the guy that would benefit the most, at least from adjustments here. So absolutely. Do you have anything, Green Bay, that Detroit Green Bay game? Well, look, we're all in here too. So you can technically, if you wanted to go back to that Eagles game, I know you mentioned Hurts. Oh, no. Let's stay on that Detroit Green Bay game.
Okay.
There's no Packers, right? Because if we're just waiting.
Yep. Sitting, waiting. It's a gigantic discrepancy between Malik Willis and the passing expectation for that offense.
Although McManus,
Malik Willis has been good in limited sample, but that's 2 weeks. It wasn't against Detroit. There's now a little bit of tape on how they're going to utilize Malik Willis within this offense, or how you would.
Let's do this.
LaFleur's a good coach. Malik Willis was a guy he went and got and said, you know what, if I'm going to get him this cheap, I got to take some shots on him because he's a high upside candidate to have as a backup. I mean, it's kind of like going and getting Trey Lance for the Dallas Cowboys, where it's like, yeah, things didn't go well in your current environment, or, you just couldn't do the things that were asked of you there, but we're going to ask you to do different things and we can coach you into it. So it'll be nice. Yep.
Let's do this. We got Rance asking for some Pick Six NBA.
Yep.
Assuming Rance is still here.
Yep.
Right? And we got a couple of minutes. You got to get out of here. We got to get out of here. We all have to get out of here. Why don't you hit us with a couple of your favorite Pick Six just for Rance and anybody else who wants to build a winner on the way out. Again, hit the thumbs up button, subscribe. We want you part of this community. Hit the like if you're watching on either of our Twitters, and we'll go from there.
So Siakam is sitting at 6.5 and 7.5 at other pick'em sites. He is at 8.5 here. I think this is under the assumption that you remove Miles Turner from this basketball game. If Miles Turner plays, which I think he's more inclined to do, he sat last time out, but if Pascal Siakam is going to be out on the floor sharing it with Miles Turner, that rebound expectation definitely goes down. I know he's gone for 9 and 11. Don't forget, this 11, that was Isaiah Jackson out there for just 23 minutes. So it's definitely going to be a spot where I think Pascal Siakam and Clint Capella, this is a guy I've been shorting all season long. They really like Okongwu in a lot of these matchups. Sacramento, another one where against Domantas Sabonis, I think it makes way more sense to have Okongwu out there than Clint Capella. And now we're getting an opportunity. I mean, these numbers are starting to get ridiculous for Capella. I was shorting him at like 24.5, 25.5. I don't even think that they have him listed here. He's probably like in the 20.5 realm, but I do like less than 8.5 rebounds. They really are not going to be giving him the lion's share of the center minutes this season. The tide may have finally turned for Atlanta, where they're going to play a Kongwu there more. I think the other two that we really got to be paying attention to, if you like over 22.5 fantasy score on PrizePicks, which I definitely do, I think it actually behooves you to go over here to Pick Six and find certain plays that it's like, oh, well, Davion Mitchell, this is not a traditionally very good three-point shooter. You now have RJ Barrett out there. And once you get quickly out there, Davion Mitchell will be playing like no minutes. But offensively, he's not really asked to do anything here at the moment, nor should he be. I think 1.5 3-pointers is something that we want to short. And then you can take them more on the other side. Yes, there are worlds where he makes 2 threes, and then he also doesn't go for 22.5 fantasy score. But again, people really don't like their lesses over on Pick Six. You're going to see higher payouts as you go along. So for starters, my favorite 2 plays as of right now, I'm going to record my video here in a second. I'm going to redo the board and take a look at the injury news again. But Capella, Davion Mitchell, like both for less. This is one where if it hits, I think you're getting paid out a lot better than that just 2x, 3x type multiplier. You could be getting 4x if some of the more popular plays fail.
At Shander Bets, at Eric Lindquist. Go ahead, thank Eric. If not here, then on Twitter. You got to go. Get out of here. We'll see you.
All right, later.